If you've ever felt a passion for a cause, it's probably stirred you to action. It could be as simple as baking pies for the church supper, canvassing for a political candidate, or working long hours in your local neighborhood hospital. And the reward is the knowledge that you've somehow made a difference. Well, tonight, Roger Karras has the story of someone with many passions. One of them resulted in an extraordinary mission.
Victoria Falls, a symbol of African fertility, but at times a beautifully deceiving one. Although billions of gallons of water spill over these falls into the Zambezi River every day, much of it is wasted. For the most part, the water flows through Zimbabwe and Mozambique, emptying into the Indian Ocean, doing little good along the way. And that's more than just a pretty geography lesson, because the other rivers in Zimbabwe and Mozambique, along with just about all the rest of East Africa, now look like this. As the land periodically dries up and a burgeoning population demands more and more of the fertile land, African wildlife is pushed into ever smaller pockets. All this competition for room and food, most of it coming from man, leads to this. It's called culling, shown on British television several years ago. It means to thin out the herd, and it's done with terrifying efficiency, especially with elephants. They are pretty hard to miss. It's done, say officials, to keep the elephants from overgrazing, in effect, eating themselves out of their own home. The value of their ivory could have something to do with it. The magnificent African elephant, the largest land animal on Earth, is being squeezed every year into smaller patches of land. Some conservationists fear it is being squeezed into extinction. Here in the Hwanki National Preserve in Zimbabwe, where we went recently, 20,000 elephants have been pushed into an area that should support only 5,000. These giants can weigh up to 8 tons and eat 300 to 400 pounds of vegetation a day. That's a lot of foliage in the best of times. During a drought, it's a disaster unless they can migrate to find food and water. They can't. So they're killed off. It is the quickest and easiest way to deal with the problem, the inevitable quick fix, the males, the females, and the babies. That's where this man enters the picture. Arthur Jones, a multimillionaire from Ocala, Florida, along with his wife Terry, simply decided to jump into one of their 3 private 707s, fly to Zimbabwe, and rescue the baby elephants, or at least some of them, from an upcoming culling operation. Their plan was to bring the elephants back to their farm in Ocala and build an American herd of African elephants.
It's my opinion that the African elephant will be extinct on the African continent before the end of this century. We're picking up elephants which would otherwise be shot, and we're going to give them an opportunity to survive.
Arthur, with all the governments involved, there are 51 countries south of the Sahara in Africa alone. Why does it take Arthur Jones from Florida to save African elephants?
Don't hold your breath till any government helps anything. Governments, by the very nature of governments, are good at wasting money, at destroying resources, at creating problems, at building up problems.
There are people that say that the money you are spending on these elephants could be put to better use.
That's their opinion. And I'm sure that that would be true of practically anybody you ask. It's my money, Roger. I made it, and I'll spend it any way I choose.
Beautiful It's his money, all right, and it took a bundle of it to get his 707 onto the isolated airstrip at the Wanky Game Reserve in Zimbabwe. The whole elephant operation cost an estimated $1 million, and he was there to supervise every penny of it.
10.
Negative.
4, 10.
That's 10, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Then 9.
All right, so
Okay,
that's 19.
Correct.
Okay, and then you get 3 times 21. 3 times 7 is 21.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which makes 63, right?
63.
That's
yeah,
how total
yeah,
left.
yeah, okay.
No one had ever tried to stuff 63 elephants into a 707 before, and to the local people, it was the best show to hit town since Dr. Livingston passed this way thumping his Bible a century ago. If stuffing elephants into an aircraft was a new experience for the people concerned, it was downright mind-boggling for the elephants. They seemed to have their own idea of where they wanted to go, and wherever that was, it wasn't on a jet plane. Since no elephant lift of this scope had ever been contemplated, much less attempted, no one was sure at the time if any of them